Today I'm joined by my recruiter, Staff Sergeant Robert Tidquist. It's very exciting. So you've been in the Marines for how many years now?
16 and a half.
So 16 and a half. So he's our first active duty. He's still in. You're going till you're 20. You're 20 years, right?
I am. Yes.
Awesome. So this is a Thanksgiving edition. So I have some Thanksgiving questions prepared. So what are you planning on doing with your family during Thanksgiving?
We're not from here, so we have a couple friends that are not from here as well.
Okay.
We're just going to get together with them and kind of do a potluck Thanksgiving that we do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, what is your favorite Thanksgiving food? It could be entree or dessert, or both.
Probably ham.
Ham? Are you a turkey or a ham guy?
I would choose ham over turkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would too. And then have you ever had Thanksgiving while serving?
Yes. I for the last 16 and a half years, everywhere I've been, we've had Thanksgiving. I think I've only went home for a couple of them. So either at work doing it on shift or deployed doing something forward deployed or something like that. But I've always been able to have Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So do they have like in the chow hall? They just have like a big meal set up, or
typically they do. It just kind of depends on where you're at. But if you're on an actual normal base, they'll have all the same fixings that you would normally have for Thanksgiving there. Still in the chow hall, so you gotta go through the chow hall style. But yeah,
that's cool. So I'm just gonna jump into pre-training. So why military? Why did you join?
I just kind of had the calling when I was a young man. When I was 17, never did join. Not real sure why. Maybe chickened out. And then I had my recruiter stop by and just asked me like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I told him what I was doing and what I wanted to do. And he surprised me by telling me that the Marine Corps has firefighting in the Marines, and that's what I wanted to do. And that was all it took for me. So I was pretty easy recruit.
Yeah, so whenever you finally went to boot camp, what was the hardest thing about leaving for you, or was it pretty easy?
Leaving for me, I would say that it was all pretty easy. I was 20, I'd already been away from home and stuff, so just, leaving everyone behind. I never really left for that long period of time and the distance, but I guess that part, just like leaving everybody behind for that length of period of time without communication with anybody.
Yeah. So which camp did you go to for training?
I went to MCRD San Diego.
Okay. Yeah. And so where were you born? Or where were you raised? So you said it was a far distance.
Well, no, I enlisted out of Colorado.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't that far, but for that length of period of time, I had never... Anytime I'd left the state prior to that was really with either a weekend trip with friends or with family vacations.
Yeah. So talking about training now, do you have the funniest memory from training? It could be you or someone else.
In boot camp?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just boot camp specifically.
I would say for me, it was definitely while I was in boot camp, my girlfriend at the time sent me some Snicker bars, and we were allowed to eat them during mail call if our senior drill instructor was doing the mail call, which he was at the time. She sent me 3 Snickers bars. I ate 2 of them and I put one in my pocket. Yeah. And the next day we were doing something and it fell out. Oh no. And I say it's funny. It's funny now. It wasn't.
Yeah, it probably wasn't funny then.
But it's funny to look back on now and see that I got in trouble. I got everybody in trouble over some Snicker bars.
Yeah. So did you just have to do just a bunch of exercises, or just yelled at while doing both?
They gave me some one-on-one attention for the entire day. So I got incentive training. I did extra cleaning. I did all sorts of stuff for a whole day. So yeah, it was pretty awful.
Rough times.
I learned my lesson.
That's good. Yeah. What was the hardest obstacle that you faced at basic?
For me, it was probably the physical fitness aspect. I was a lineman in high school when I played football. I was 210 pounds when I went to boot camp, and I graduated 170. So for me, physical training was getting my body down to the lean and mean part of being a Marine was probably the biggest thing for me. Being away and getting yelled at, that was kind of commonplace for me. But definitely the physical training part. Yeah,
and you were saying your mom didn't even recognize you on graduation day.
Yeah, I walked by her 3 times. I didn't see her, but she had saw me, but she didn't think that was me. Yeah. So I had lost a lot of weight.
That's crazy. So post-training, what was your MLS? You did firefighting, right?
Yeah, I'm a 7051, aircraft rescue and firefighting specialist, so firefighting.
Okay. And then did you graduate as a PFC or just a private?
I was actually a Lance Corporal.
Okay.
I was a private out of boot camp and went home on recruiter's assistance when I got to my MOS school as a private. got promoted to PFC, just regular time in service while I was out there, and I got some people to join the Marine Corps, so I subsequently got meritorious Lance Corporal.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. How did MCT compare to boot camp for you?
MCT, for when I went through, it was a lot more relaxed. You know, when I went through in 2001, we were pre 9/11, so there wasn't a whole lot of NCOs, which is what you're being taught at MCT by. Not a whole lot of combat experienced NCOs. So for us, I mean, they were teaching us this stuff. It was like camping. I mean, you got to go out and dig holes and sleep on the ground and shoot a bunch of the weapon systems, and we got to shoot more than they actually get to shoot now.
Oh.
So it was. I enjoyed it. It was only like 21 days, I think, then. I think it's 29 days now, so it's like a week longer.
Week. Okay, and then where did you go to MOS school after MCT?
Goodfellow Air Force Base. It's in San Angelo, Texas.
Okay.
So yeah, it's about 4.5 hours away from here.
Okay. Where was your first assignment, and what did you do?
My first assignment was sent to Marine Wing Support Squadron 271, MWSS 271. It's out of Cherry Point, North Carolina.
Okay.
I actually got stationed at an auxiliary landing field, McCaff, Marine Corps Auxiliary Landing Field, Bogue. It's a tiny little thing. It's about, there's probably about 15 people that work there on a regular basis.
Wow.
And it's just a tiny little airfield for the Harriers to practice landing and taking off. So not a whole lot out there, not a whole lot of action for firefighters. So we had a lot of sitting around.
Just waiting for something to happen.
Just trying to, hoping something would happen. But.
Yeah. How long were you there for?
I was stationed in Cherry Point for 4 years and 10 months. Well, my first contract was 4 years and 10 months. Excuse me. So I got there October of 2001, and I actually left the Marine Corps in November of 2005. So I was actually at Cherry Point for about 4 years.
And then you re-enlisted later.
Yeah, so I'd gotten out, moved back to Colorado for a little while, moved here to the colony, hooked back up with my girlfriend, now wife, and came back in March of 07.
Okay, and then you've been in ever since, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did you attend any additional schooling, just like any sort of more MOS schooling or anything like that?
Oh yeah, so in the Marine Corps you have your Marine Corps side training and you have your MOS side training. So for us as firefighters, when you hit certain ranks, they want you to have certain certificates. So instructor training or different types of vehicles you get a license or a certificate for. So went to a lot of different training that we did either on base or they sent us back to Goodfellow to do that kind of training. And then as a Marine, every time you rank up, there's a leadership course that they send you to.
Right.
And stuff. So got to do a lot of that stuff and do some cool training outside of my MOS when we deployed in 2003.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about that. So how long was your deployment? Where did you go?
We went to Iraq for the initial invasion. So we got to Kuwait in January 2003.
Okay.
And we hung out there until March when we invaded into Iraq in March, and we were there until the end of July in 2003. So during that time I was a 50 cal machine gunner. I wasn't a firefighter.
And you volunteered for that, right?
Yes.
That was something that you volunteered for.
Yeah, so we needed to provide security for convoys, and they asked for volunteers, and I wanted to do something different, so I volunteered for that. So good time.
Yeah, and then you've done some college while you've been in as well, or
Absolutely.
was that in your break?
No, I after I came back in, I went to Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort, which is in South Carolina, and I had my staff sergeant there actually forced us, I guess you would say. He set aside 2 hours every day that we were on shift to do education.
Yeah.
And that's where I started. I got my first associates. And then subsequently, I've gotten another associate's degree and now a bachelor's degree.
And did you use that as a CLEPS, where you can do all stuff online?
I used CLEPS for that, and we used tuition assistance for the other stuff. And tuition assistance just free money that the Marine Corps gives you while you're on active duty.
Yeah. Okay. Where was one of the favorite places that you traveled while you were in?
I would say my favorite place to be stationed was probably Japan. I got the opportunity to see a lot of the Pacific, just doing different exercises and being able to experience the Japanese culture and stuff like that. It was a great experience for my kids, for my family. They got to see how a different entire society lives.
For sure,
So.
another first world country. Was there any bizarre foods that you had while you were there?
Not so much. I mean, there is in Japan. You kind of the difficult part about Japan is there's some stuff that looks kind of sketchy, and you don't know Japanese to ask them what it is.
Yeah.
But I would say in the place I've seen kind of the weirdest food was in the Philippines.
Okay.
Some of the food that they have over there is yeah.
It's really weird.
It's really odd. It's like halfway developed chicken eggs
Oh.
and that they try and get you to eat, and some weird stuff that I would never
Want to have?
you try it because you're there.
You're like, we're
you know,
respectful.
when in Rome.
Yeah.
But it's not anything I would try again. Definitely not. So.
No. Yeah. Okay. Kind of switching gears. Was there an act of courage in someone else that you would like to be willing to share?
That's kind of a difficult question. I mean, 2 deployments to Iraq in 03 and 05, I saw a lot of people doing things above and beyond. In my experience, being a firefighter and doing that, you see a lot. So it's almost commonplace. This act of courage is somewhat commonplace. But I would say the one that stuck out to me was one of my mentors, Sergeant Sanders. When we were in Iraq in 2003, actually driving, just convoying, doing some security, and we started taking some rounds, and one of the vehicles, the guy driving the vehicle just kind of dazed out, froze up or whatever, and he jumped out of the back of his vehicle, running through what in my mind, looking back, must have been like thousands of rounds, but I'm sure it probably wasn't. But you see tracer rounds and stuff, and just see him run through. Have a 5-minute conversation with this guy, and all of a sudden, here he is running right back through all of it again to get the convoy going. They were good, probably 50 to 100 yards behind us at that time. So he ran a good distance, and it was just to get us going. It was motivating. It was awe inspiring.
Yeah.
But that's one that sticks out to me. Like I said, as a firefighter, you see a lot of stuff, but that's kind of our job. But
it's fair.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you had the opportunity to, when you had a gap, you didn't do your full 20, back to back. So how was adjusting to civilian life in that gap? How was that?
It was a little difficult at first, especially since I got out right after my deployment to Iraq in 05. So I won't say that I had like PTSD or anything like that. I don't suffer from that that I know of. But it takes some adjustments. You're used to having your rifle with you everywhere you go. Adjusting into the civilian world where I didn't like to have people behind me. I didn't like driving around trash or potholes on the road.
Yeah.
So there's just those little tiny things that you have to pay attention to when you're forward deployed. It was hard to get out of that part for me. But it eventually happened, and it wasn't too difficult. Other than that, being able to grow your beard out and not have to get a haircut. We get our haircut every week, and we have to shave every day, and so you'd go a week or two without shaving, and a month without your haircut, and it starts itching and stuff like that. So it just took a while to get to where I didn't
I have to do that on my own.
I didn't have to look like a Marine anymore. So.
Do you think if you could go back right now to the beginning, would you do it all over again?
I would. I know that there's definitely been some hard times in the Marines in 16 and a half years, but I'm happy with the person that I am and what the Marine Corps has helped me become. It's given me a lot of opportunities, not only for me, for my family, but to help future generations, to have that impact on the Marines I had, and now as a recruiter, the future Marines that are taking my place. I'm going to retire before you get out of the Marines. So you. It's an awesome thing to work with Marines and mentor Marines, but I think it's a really awesome thing to know that you had a hand in making a Marine.
Yeah,
so
that's super cool.
So yeah, I would definitely do it again.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Describe military life in 3 words.
Honor, pride, and brotherhood.
All right, awesome. That's all I got. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
Thank you.